3 years of marriage, 7 affairs. Each time I sobbed. He apologized. Repeat. Then his first love, Claire, flew home, and I went quiet. At the welcome party I stared at her cool, regal pianist brother and my heart pounded like a drum. It wasn't that I'd forgotten how to love. I'd simply never met the right person. Aiden had his arm around Claire, lost in old memories. Me? I was already plotting how to make her brother my husband. Before we go on, subscribe to the channel and tell us in the comments where you're listening. Aiden himself broke the news that Sophia had come back. His eyes were on the window, fingertips drumming the table, as if it were something trivial. He was waiting for me to smash the cup in my hand, or cry and ask why he always did this. I only murmured and kept applying my lipstick. He turned, a strange curiosity in his gaze. Nothing to say? I pressed my lips together to even the color. The woman in the mirror looked calm. Hope the flight was smooth. Say hi for me. He froze, like he'd punched cotton. The Frosts hosted the party to welcome Sophia home. Aiden changed suits 3 times, finally choosing the one I once called romantic looking. I picked the simplest black dress, bare neck, only pearl studs. As I slipped my arm through his, I felt his muscles tighten. Sophia stood in the center, snowy white, smile dazzling. She waved at Aiden, eyes sparkling. He instinctively tried to let go of my hand. I slipped my arm free first. Go on. Flustered, he muttered, don't overthink. I smiled, already looking past his shoulder. To the piano in the corner. He sat on the bench, profile remote as alpine snow. Fingers rested on the keys but played nothing. The noise around him seemed separated by glass. Sophia dragged Aiden over, voice bright, look who's here, big brother. He lifted his eyes, nodded coolly at Aiden, then rested his gaze on me. For a second, maybe less, but the cold ashes inside me flared. Aiden orbited Sophia all night. Handed drink. Cracked jokes, brushed streamers from her shoulder. Same as always. I perched on a bar stool by the window, sipping champagne. Watching the piano. Later he played Debussy's Claire. Each falling note seemed to flood the room with cold light. When it ended, he stood and left. As he passed, a faint cedar scent drifted by. I set down my glass and followed. The terrace night breeze was cool. He leaned on the rail, cigarette ember blinking. Need something? Voice colder than the music. I stepped beside him and copied his pose, gazing at city lights. You play beautifully. Thanks. Silence spread like night itself. Yet it felt easier than the hollow chatter inside. Sophia's brother, I turned, what's your name? He stubbed out the cigarette, light sculpted his profile. Liam. Ah. I nodded. I'm Sienna. Aiden's wife. He looked at me then. I know. On the drive home Aiden talked nonstop. How tough Sophia's years abroad were, how she still laughed like a child. I leaned against the window, reflected smile curving my lips. My mind held another face. That cold cedar scent still clung to the air. Are you listening? Aiden snapped. I am. My tone was light. Happy for her. He swallowed words like gravel. Back home, instead of vanishing to his study, he followed me into the bedroom. Sienna, we need to talk. I removed my studs, watching him in the mirror. Talk about how many times you knocked over her glass tonight? His face darkened. So you do care. I shook my head. I don't care anymore. I meant it. The turmoil in his eyes suddenly felt galaxies away. I started asking about Liam. Concert pianist, tours year-round, famously aloof, seldom social. Loves Brahms, hates sweets. Every Wednesday he retunes an old Steinway at the Whitman on the south side. Its shopfront frames the battered grand. Wednesday, sun mild, I happened by in a new mist blue dress. He was bent over the wires, the doorbell made him look up. Seeing me, his hands paused. Fancy meeting you. I brushed the glow. SSY lid. Not a coincidence, he said without glancing. This street only leads here. I laughed. Then call it deliberate. He said nothing, but a faint curve touched his lips. Aiden came home later each night, reeking of strange perfume, whiskey, tobacco. He began testing me, leaving Sophia's little gifts in plain view. A lipstick, a silk scarf. Before, I'd have hurled them into the trash. Now I didn't see them. My mind was occupied, memorizing Liam's cafes, his record labels, the way his brows knit when tuning. Love shifts like that. Not an avalanche, an hourglass draining from one side, silently filling the other. Sophia finally asked to meet. Private room at Jasmine, she was pitifully delicate. Sienna, don't blame Aiden. It's my fault. I stirred my matcha latte, thinking Liam dislikes sweets. Next time I'll take him for tea. Sienna? I surfaced and smiled. Your business, work it out yourselves. Her prepared tears jammed in place. You aren't angry? No. I checked my watch. Sorry, I've a gallery date. As I rose, I added softly, and just call me sister, we can be closer. She stared. The show was abstract, Liam's preference. I found him before a canvas of wild color. Today a gray sweater softened his chill. You like Clee? He asked. I do now, I admitted. He studied me. Long enough for me to count eyelash shadows. Afterward we walked Eastbrook. Late autumn wind stung, yet warmth bloomed inside me. Aiden treats you badly, he said, not a question. I nudged a pebble. That's history. Then why stay? I stopped, facing him. River wind tangled my hair and lit my eyes. Because I was waiting for you. He froze. Dusk crept red across his ears. Chapter 2, Heartbeat. Wednesday. Whitman. Sunlight through the old window laid golden grids over the Steinway. I arrived early. Liam wasn't there, only the dozing clerk and a tinny radio crooning old opera. I lifted the lid, fingers brushing ivory gone the color of tea. Want to try? His voice came from behind, breathless, as if he'd walked fast. I stepped back, smiling, waiting for my teacher. He wore pale gray linen, sleeves rolled to show lean wrists. Same cedar scent. The first movement of Claire, it's easy. He motioned me onto the bench. It was narrow, our arms touched as we sat. He played a phrase, showing fingering, then wrapped my wrist and placed my hand. Here, gently, like touching Claire. His palm was warm, fingertips calloused. My skin memorized them. He taught me half an hour. I was slow, mistakes frequent. He never rushed, just covered my hand again when I faltered. You're patient, I said when we left. Tuning demands more. He locked the door. String by string, no rushing. We strolled the old street. Plane trees half yellow, wind made them rain leaves. He walked steady, unhurried. I matched him, surprised how pleasant simply walking could feel. Your sister sees Aiden a lot, I mentioned. Liam was quiet a moment. Sophia was spoiled, he said quietly. She thinks whatever she likes is hers. And you? I asked. Would you take what belongs to someone else? He stopped, looked down. Deep as autumn water. I only wait. For what? For it to come to me. A plain leaf landed on my shoulder. He brushed it away, natural as breath. Aiden hardly came home for supper now. When he did, alcohol, smoke, and perfume clung to him. He began bringing gifts. Pricey scarves, limited perfume, a diamond necklace glittering in velvet. They were all things the old me would have wept over with joy. Now I only offered a quiet thank you, too lazy to even open the box. You don't like it? Last night he blocked my way, blood streaking his eyes. I like it. I placed the diamond necklace back in its case. It just doesn't suit me anymore. Then what does? His voice carried a tremor. Name it and I'll buy it. I studied him and suddenly felt as though I were staring at a stranger. This man who spent money for me had never really seen me. Get some rest. I stepped around him and went upstairs. At the landing I said back. He stood in the middle of the living room, the necklace clenched in his fist. The light stretched his shadow long and lonely as an island. Liam and I began seeing each other like any couple. Neither of us spoke the word aloud. On Friday night he took me to a tiny restaurant hidden deep in an alley. The owner, an old acquaintance, was a retired symphony violinist. Only 4 tables stood inside. The menu, scrawled on a blackboard, changed daily. The usual? The owner asked, beaming. Liam nodded, then looked at me. Do you eat fish? The scallion braised Kirschenkarp here is excellent. Sure. While we waited he told me touring stories. How the entire orchestra came down with food poisoning right before a concert at Vienna's Golden Hall. How a rabid fan chased them 3 blocks in Tokyo. How the keys froze his fingers when he played under Reykjavik's northern lights. Chin in hand, I watched the slight upturn of his mouth as he spoke. Those distant, untraveled chapters of his life unfolded before me, sentence by sentence. What about you? He asked suddenly. Who are you, besides Vance? I blinked. Aiden had never asked. I like to paint, I said. Though I haven't in ages. Why? Aiden says the oil paints stink and the gear takes up space. The word startled even me. So many pieces of myself had quietly been discarded. Liam looked at me in steady silence. Next time you come to Whitman, bring your supplies, he said. There's an empty room on the 2nd floor with beautiful light. The fish arrived, steaming. He meticulously picked out the bones and placed the plumpest belly in my bowl. Watch for tiny bones. I lowered my head, eyes stinging. Saturday afternoon we went to Eastbrook. A French Impressionist show was in town. Monet's water lilies had traveled here for the first time. The galleries were quiet. We stood before Impression, sunrise for a long while. The colors feel liquid, I murmured. Like Debussy's music, he replied. We looked at each other and smiled, no explanation needed. Afterward we rested in the museum cafe. He ordered black coffee, I asked for hot chocolate. Sweets make people happy, I said. Short-lived happiness, he answered, yet he reached over and wiped a speck of cream from my lip with a fingertip, casual enough to stop my heart. Outside, autumn rain began to fall, veiling the city in misty gray. We stayed, watching the drizzle. Aiden took Sophia to try on wedding gowns today, I said suddenly, surprised at my calm. Liam turned his cup. I know. Won't you talk your sister out of it? I tried. He gazed out. She says it's the dream she's waited 10 years for. The rain whispered on. What about you? I asked. What's your dream? He turned, his eyes settled on my face. After a long moment he said softly, a dream I never want to wake from. Aiden came home late, reeking of alcohol, a livid love bite on his neck. He collapsed on the sofa, calling my name. Sienna. Sienna. I stood on the stairs, looking down coldly. You're awake? He struggled upright, dazed. Get me some water. I didn't move. He rubbed his temples, voice hoarse. Sophia cried today, said she's sorry to you. I told her it's okay, you're generous. I laughed. The sound rang harsh in the hush. Aiden lifted his head, blinking. What's funny? Myself. I descended slowly. And you? I poured a glass and set it on the coffee table. The clink of crystal on marble cracked like something breaking. Aiden, when did we last have a real conversation? He froze. I don't ask what you do each day or who you're with, and you never tell. I sat opposite him. What I do, what I think, you've never cared. He opened his mouth to object, but I went on. This glass of water, you only remember it when you're thirsty. You drink, set it down, and forget until the next time. You never wonder if the water's gone cold, if the glass is dirty, or, I paused, if it's tired of being used. The alcohol seemed to drain from his veins. His eyes cleared, then darted eye and panic. Sienna, did someone say something to you? Do I need gossip? I asked evenly. The perfume on you, the bruise on your neck, the hour you come home, which of those needs confirmation? Color left his face. It's not what you think, Sophia and I, what do I think? I cut in. Aiden, I'm done thinking. I stood. From today, do as you please. We owe each other nothing. I started up the stairs. Halfway, his gravel voice chased me, you've changed. I stopped without turning. Yes, I said. Finally. Sunday, Liam invited me to the Southside Flea Book Market, really an old street along the river lined with weekend stalls. The air smelled of musty paper mingled with river damp. We halted at a table stacked with sheet music. Liam knelt, searching. Sunlight danced through plane tree leaves across his shoulders. I wanted to paint the curve of his focused profile. Found it. He drew search intentionally. Only hands, no person. But every time I look, I see Liam's profile as he bends to tune. My phone vibrates. A 1932 Bechstein just arrived at Whitman. The tone is beautiful. Want to hear it? Liam's messages are always like this. He never asks if I'm free, only offers an invitation I can't refuse. What time? Sunset. The piano's on the second floor, west-facing window. I glance outside. The autumn sky is high and far, clouds brushed pale rose gold. Okay. I'll bring my paints. Waiting for you. I set the phone down and keep mixing color. Cobalt plus a touch of magenta, twilight just before it slips into dark. Dinner is 3 dishes and a soup Aiden made. Stir-fried greens, sweet and sour ribs, scallion braised tofu, a milky white Kirschenkarp broth. His cooking has improved. The fish soup is rich, no trace of mud, scattered with fine green onion. Try it. He ladles a bowl and hands it over. I take it, spoon a sip. Temperature perfect, salt just right. Good, I say. His eyes brighten like a child praised. Then I'll make it for you every day. I don't answer, only low. Or my head to drink. The table is silent except for the soft clink of bowls and chopsticks. Several times Aiden starts to speak, checks my face, swallows the words. Finally he says, Sophia called today, said she wants to see a play. I pick up a piece of tofu. I turned her down. He's quick. Told her. I had to come home and eat with my wife. He watches me, waiting for some reaction. I lift my head. You could have gone. He freezes. Play tickets are hard to get, don't waste them. My tone is calm, almost considerate. But Aiden's face drains pale. Sienna, his voice is hoarse, I chose you. I lay down my chopsticks. Outside the window the sky is entirely dark. Aiden, I say softly, choosing me is what you're supposed to do. He opens his mouth, no sound. I'm your wife, I continue. Choosing me is like using chopsticks to eat, opening an umbrella when it rains, it's duty, not a gift. But I used to be foolish. I smile. I mistook duty for love, the obligatory for a favor. I'm not foolish anymore. I stand and begin clearing the dishes. Aiden sits motionless. The light above him casts a deep, heavy shadow. I'm going to Whitman. I finish washing, dry my hands. Back late. Taking piano lessons again? His voice is dry. That teacher, man or woman? I walk to the foyer to change shoes. Does it matter? As I shut the door I see him through the crack. Head lowered, shoulders sagging, like a puppet with its stuffing pulled out. Whitman's second floor is lovelier than I pictured. The old Bechstein stands by the window, its dark gold lacquer flowing like honey in the sunset. Liam sits on the piano bench testing the keys. Hearing my steps he turns. Perfect timing. He plays a short phrase. Notes spill from the soundboard, mellow and warm, like aged wine. Schubert impromptu, he says. Made for dusk. I sit beside him. My easel is set at the window, paint's already mixed. You paint, I'll play, he says. So dusk acquires color and sound. His fingers are icy and fall over the keys, my brush moves across the canvas. The sun inches lower, stretching our shadows until they overlap on the floor. At one passage he suddenly stops. Here, he points to the score, I never get it right. I lean in to look. It's a string of triplets changing key, fingering tricky. Let me try. My hands have just touched the keys when he wraps his from behind around mine. His chest presses to my back, breath brushing my ear. Like this, he guides my fingers, light, but firm. Our hands dance together over the ivory. The notes spring alive, leaping out. When the phrase ends neither of us moves. The sun has slipped exactly behind the buildings, the sky is burnt out ember. Sienna, he murmurs. If I'd come home earlier. No ifs. I settle into his arms. Right now is the perfect time. His arms circle me, chin resting on my hair. We sit watching the sky shift from orange red to indigo, watching the first star kindle, as though someone has finally opened an eye. Aiden begins to follow me. At first I don't notice. Until one day leaving Whitman I see, reflected in a cafe window on the corner, a familiar black Mercedes whose plate ends with Aiden's birthday. I stand by the curb and message Liam. Someone's tailing me. A few minutes later he walks out carrying my paint box. I'll walk you. Side by side we take the old stone street. His arm settles naturally around my shoulders. From the corner of my eye I watch the car crawl behind us, a silent, stubborn shadow. Not afraid he'll see? I ask. Liam looks down at me. Are you? I think, then shake my head. Then let him look. We stroll slowly, like any couple. Passing a roasted chestnut stand he buys a bag, peels the first one and offers it. Warm your hands. The nut is hot, sweet steam rising in the cold. I eat, he carries my box. The car keeps its distance, never far, never close, a wordless standoff. At the Harborview gate Liam stops. I'll leave you here. I nod, take the box. He bends and plants a feather-light kiss on my forehead, soft as a leaf touching water. See you tomorrow. Tomorrow. I turn into Harborview. From gate to building, 100+ steps. I feel the gaze on my back, burning, aching, drilling a hole through my coat. But I never look back. Not once. The blow-up comes on a Friday night. Liam is giving a small private recital. I'm the only listener. In a Southside old villa, host an old friend, a pianist collector now living in France. That night I wear an emerald velvet gown and pearl studs. When Liam picks me up his eyes give away plain awe. Like you stepped out of a Renaissance canvas. I laugh and slip my arm through his. Only 6 pieces, short program, but each played for me. After the last, the elderly collector claps and approaches. Liam has never played for anyone like this, he says, smiling at me. Young lady, you are special. I blush. Liam tightens his hold on my hand. It's late when we leave. Liam drives me home, stops outside Harborview. We say goodbye under the street lamp. I have a Berlin tour next week, he says. 10 days. That long. If you like, he looks at me, come along. Sinclair in autumn Berlin is beautiful. My heart skips. I'll think about it. All right. He leans in, kisses my lips. Deep, long, flavored with reluctance and promise. When we part we're both breathless. Go in, he smooths my hair. Message me when you're up. I nod, step into Harborview light as air. The living room lamps are blazing. Aiden sits on the sofa, the ashtray overflows. He watches me enter, eyes ice and fire at once. Had fun, voice hoarse. I set down my bag. Not bad. That man, he pauses, each word ground out, is Sophia's brother, right? I pause while slipping off my coat, then hang it up. Yes. Yes? He surges up, strides closer. So these days, every outing, Whitman, exhibits, concerts, all of it, with him? I face him, don't deny. Yes. The last color leaves his face. Why him, shaking? Anyone but him, why Sophia's brother? Looking at the storm of shock, humiliation, absurd rage in his eyes, I almost laugh. Does it matter? Yes, he roars. Sienna, are you doing this to get back at me and Sophia? I study his flushed, trembling face. Revenge? I echo softly, then shake my head. Aiden, you overate yourself. He freezes. I don't need revenge. I walk to the bar, pour a glass of water. The cold glass steadies me. I just happened to fall in love with him. That's all. Happened? He laughs wildly. Happened to pick the one man who can humiliate me most? Happened right after Sophia and Aiden, I cut in, calm, you and Sophia are the past. Now it's me and Liam. He lurched a step and caught the back of the sofa, as if he couldn't trust his own legs. So you admit it, you admit you cheated? If you insist on putting it like that. I set the glass down and turned to face him fully. Then yes. I've fallen in love with Liam. I want to be with him. I paused and let each word fall, crystal clear, so let's get divorced. The air turned to stone. He stared at me, fury collapsing into raw panic. Sienna. He grabbed the hem of my skirt and dropped to his knees, tears spilling without warning. I was wrong, I know I was wrong. Exactly the way he had begged forgiveness after every other affair. Don't leave me, please. I looked down at him. The same man who once radiated confidence now knelt at my feet, nose running, eyes bloodshot. There had been a time when I ached for him, softened, forgave him again and again. Now I only felt pity. Aiden, get up. I said. This is ugly. I won't. He wrapped his arms around my legs. Not unless you promise to stay. Sienna, let's start over, okay? You can have all my company shares, the houses, the cars, keep everything, I just want you. He cried like a little boy. Tears soaked the hem of my skirt. Aiden. I spoke softly. Don't you understand yet? He tilted his tear-streaked face up. I don't love you anymore. From the first night you didn't come home, the first lie you told, the first time you gave my tenderness to someone else, my voice stayed flat, as though I were narrating someone else's story. Love died by degrees. Now it's stone cold dead. Not even ashes remain. He shook his head, frantic. No, you still love me, you're just angry, angry about Sophia. I'm not angry. I crouched so our eyes met. Aiden, I'm really not angry. Because I don't care. He froze, tears trembling on his lashes. Whoever you're with, whatever you're doing, what time you come home, none of it matters to me. It's like the leaves that fell from the tree outside, I didn't count them, and I won't. That's your life, not mine. I eased my skirt free of his fists. Gently, but with finality. My lawyer will prepare the divorce papers. The house stays with me, savings split down the middle, company shares I leave entirely to you. From here on, you're free. Free to love Sophia openly, give her your name, have children with her. I walked to the foot of the stairs. And I'm free to love the person I choose. Isn't that best for both of us? Aiden remained on his knees, motionless. His expression slid from despair to blankness and, finally, to a hollow sort of numbness. Sienna, he whispered. You really don't want me anymore? I gave no answer. I turned and climbed the stairs. Halfway up I heard the strangled, animal sob he tried to muffle. A wounded beast howling in the dark. I didn't stop. I pushed open the bedroom door. Claire spilled across the quilt. I picked up my phone and messaged Liam. I told him. A few seconds later the screen lit. Wait for me, I'm coming. Okay. I set the phone down and went to the window. The night was cloudless, stars strewn like salt across black velvet. Epilogue: Liam and I married in spring. No lavish banquet, just a handful of close friends on the second floor of the old Whitman villa. I wore a simple off-white satin dress and the pearl studs his mother had left him. He played Schumann's Widmung as the prelude. The notes poured like water over sun-washed floorboards, over the fresh white pear blossoms on the sill. When we exchanged rings his fingers trembled, the plain band paused a breath on my ring finger before sliding home. So light, yet the soundless click of permanence. There, he murmured, kissing my knuckles. Now you're mine. Our guests laughed and clapped outside the window, the plane trees budding a translucent green. Married life moved like an andante. We rented a small south side apartment with a tiny yard. He still tuned and taught at Whitman, flew abroad for the occasional performance. I picked up my brushes again and set up a north-facing studio in the spare room. Our days found a clear shape, morning coffee shared in silence, noon hours where black and white keys and bright paint strokes overlapped, dusk hours pruning the roses side by side. Arguments were rare. When they came he was always the first to stop, walking up behind me and resting his chin on the crown of my head. Take a break, he'd say. Talk when you're ready. At night we curled up on the sofa for old movies. His fingers idly twisted strands of my hair. Half asleep, I measured the steady drum of his heart against my cheek. Steady as tide, dependable as breath. News of Aiden reached me in fragments. He and Sophia never did marry. The engagement party was booked, then cancelled at the last hour. Some cited a property dispute, some said Sophia found someone richer. A darker rumor claimed he struck her one drunken night, over a flirtatious text on her phone. True or not, I glimpsed him once at a Sinclair opening. He stood at the edge of the crowd, suit still expensive but hanging loose. Our eyes met, he flinched as though scalded and spun away, retreating fast. Liam, discussing brushwork beside me, never noticed. I handed my empty flute to a passing waiter. Tired, he asked under his breath. A little. I tucked my arm through his. Let's go home. That evening a soft rain was falling. Driving tea. Rough the old quarter I saw Aiden leave a small bar alone. No umbrella, beads of rain darkened his hair and shoulders. He paused under a street lamp to light a cigarette, the flare revealing a thinner face before it died to ember. The light turned green, we rolled on. In the rearview mirror he shrank to a blur, swallowed by drizzle. Like a water-smudged painting, color bled out until nothing remained. I did not look back. Autumn came again and I held my first solo show. Theme, the shape of light and time. Canvases of our quiet life, Claire on the sill, fingers leaping over ivory, rain-soaked roses. Liam played at the opening. When the last chord faded he crossed to me and kissed my cheek in full view of the guests. Amid the applause the Sinclair owner teased, our frost was famous ice, now look, spring snow melted in the sun. Liam laughed, interlacing his fingers with mine. All Sienna's doing. The third day, an anonymous bouquet arrived, white irises, a few sprigs of eucalyptus. No card, only the familiar gold-stamped logo of the florist Aiden once used. I split the stems among glass bottles at Sinclair's front desk, mixed them with other congratulations. Turning, I saw Liam studying a painting of a rainy night, two hazy reflections sharing a puddle beneath a street lamp. He stood there a long time. I slipped my hand into his, he squeezed back, warm and certain. Late afternoon, autumn sun slanted through the sycamores, scattering coins of light across the floorboards. After the show closed we curled on the couch to sort the postcards. Blessings, doodles of pianos and flowers from children. At the very bottom lay a plain white card. A single printed line, the light in your paintings is beautiful. No signature. Just neat, machine-straight type. Liam rested his head on my shoulder, breathing evenly. I held the card to the lamp, then slid it between the pages of a thick catalogue. The book gave a soft thump as it closed, like sealing a distant, finished chapter. Tired? He asked, arms tightening at my waist. No. I switched off the floor lamp and nestled into him in the dark. It just feels perfect right now. He kissed my hair, half asleep. It'll stay perfect. Claire slipped through a crack in the curtains and paved a silver path across the floor. Outside, wind moved through the plane trees, rustling like time itself gliding, gentle and unstoppable, towards someplace deeper, quieter. And in that hush I at last found the rounded, sunlit place where I belonged. Thank you for listening to our story. If you enjoyed it, please like and share with friends. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more tales. See you next time.